And because of the tremendous snowstorm in Chicago, we couldn't land, so we couldn't take off in San Diego, and I didn't land until 9 o'clock last Friday night. And my plane to Sioux City had already left, so I got on the latest one, which was at 10 o'clock. That plane broke down, and got into Sioux City about 1:30 in the morning. My luggage didn't stop, and I'd been up since 4 o'clock in the morning, and so at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm out at Walmart's buying underwear so I can get up at 7 o'clock the next morning and speak in Iowa all over the state. And the same thing pretty much happened last time, except my luggage did come, and I came into Des Moines and been able to get a few hours sleep. And I got a head cold, so I cannot talk as loud and as aggressively and as passionately as I usually do, but you'll get the drift of where I'm going and what I want to accomplish as your president, if you so choose. I'm an individual that grew up on a farm, in a farming community. I tell people, you know, that I grew up in Elroy, Wisconsin. Elroy is so small, ladies and gentlemen, that you can call somebody, get a wrong number, and still talk for a half an hour. That's my hometown. And I grew up extremely poor. Went away to the University of Wisconsin, was the only one I could afford. And all I had was 2 shirts and a sweater and a paper bag. And I felt when I went to the University of Wisconsin, I didn't realize I was deprived. I felt I was deprived last Saturday when I was in Iowa, walking around with my dirty clothes and a Holiday Inn paper sack, but things haven't changed much. I carry my clothes any way I can. But I've had a wonderful life. I went away to the University of Wisconsin, won a scholarship my senior year at Madison, and I went out to Washington, D.C. on that scholarship to study politics. And I got out there and I realized I was as smart as those individuals in Washington. I thought I was. And so I came back and went to law school, and I ran for the state assembly when I was 23 years of age. Nobody gave me a chance to win, but I defeated an individual who had been 16 years in the assembly, and I defeated him and went on to serve 20 years. I also practiced law and farmed and was in the Army National Guard. Then I went into the Army Reserves, where I was a captain in the Army Reserve for 10 years. And from there, I decided that the state of Wisconsin was in bad shape. It was, as you got to realize, that Wisconsin, as Nancy will tell you, is a very, very blue liberal state. It's probably as liberal a state as Massachusetts. And I was able to successfully win. Nobody gave me a chance that I could win governor. But I went out and ran and I organized. I went to breakfasts like this, talked to the people, got a chance to meet you, shake your hands, answer your questions, and the people in Wisconsin responded. They elected me in a Democratic state overwhelmingly. But nobody gave me a chance. The day that I was elected for governor, all the political pundits in Wisconsin had a poll. And they voted 35 to nothing. I didn't even get one vote of those people the day of the election that I was going to win. And I won by over 100,000 votes. And then I decided, as governor, I wanted really to do a job. I wanted to change the attitudes and the direction of Wisconsin. I love ideas. I believe in people. I believe in making a difference. And that's why I ran. I ran, and the first thing I wanted to do was change the attitude of Wisconsin. Wisconsin was this very highly taxed state, and the people in Illinois used to make fun of us. Jim Thompson was the governor then of the state of Illinois. I don't know if you remember him or not, but he was the governor, and he was the governor for 14 years, I think. And he was the governor of Illinois, and he used to put signs up because people from Illinois spend their weekends up in Wisconsin enjoying our hospitality. And then they go home on Sunday, and he put a sign up that said, when the taxes get too high in Wisconsin, please bring your business to Illinois. That was okay. But then he put up a big sign before I got elected that said, when the last company leaves Wisconsin, please turn off the lights. Well, those are fighting words. That's the governor of Illinois. It was on CBS News. The people elected me, and I wanted to get even. I wanted to show there was a new sheriff in town, a new governor. So I put up a huge sign for all those people going back into Illinois on Sunday afternoon, a huge big sign given to me by the Power Night Company. It says, Governor Thompson wants you to bring your business to Wisconsin. Now, all these people from Illinois didn't know me. They thought it was their own governor, Jim Thompson. So they kept calling Jim Thompson saying, why do you want us to take our business to Wisconsin? No, not me, it's that crazy Thompson up in Wisconsin. And I changed the attitude, opened the doors for business, created an attitude for businesses, cut taxes, all the taxes. And I vetoed a lot of things. In fact, I vetoed over $8 billion in taxes because the legislatures control the Democrats. And we were able to bring in business, we were able to drive down unemployment. In fact, when I was governor, our unemployment was down below 2.2%, the lowest in the country, or the second lowest. And then we had a huge problem on welfare. People used to put signs in the Greyhound bus people in Chicago that said, go up to Milwaukee or Beloit or Racine, Kenosha, and sign up. And if you do that, you'll pick up an additional $245. And nobody was checking in Wisconsin. So people were getting on the bus, coming to Milwaukee, signing up for welfare the first day of the month, picking up their check, giving a post office a deposit, and going back to Chicago and living. And nobody was doing anything about it. And so I said, I'm going to change welfare in Wisconsin. People say, you can't do that. You can't change welfare. Nobody can change welfare. That's the way people live. That's the way it's been. It's been that way since the Depression. You can't change it. I said, I'm going to try. So what I did, did some unique things. I brought welfare mothers into the mansion where we live, the executive residence on a lake, a beautiful place, and invited welfare mothers to come up to Madison and have dinner with me. Now, they never expected to meet a governor. They never expected to be invited to the executive residence. They never expected to have dinner with him. And they certainly didn't expect a Republican to do that. But I did it. I brought them in, and first off, they were very intimidated. What's this guy doing? Why should we do it? I said, why don't you work? And I did this for several months. I brought them in different welfare mothers. And I asked them, why don't you work? And they said, well, Mr. Governor, if I work, I'm going to lose my health insurance. I said, I give you health insurance when you go to work. And they said, yes, but who's going to take care of my kids when I work? They said, well, I provide you with daycare and health care when you go to work. And they said, yes, but I got pregnant when I was 13 and never finished high school and I don't have any skills. So I said, if I provide you with job skills when you go to work. They said, yes, but most of the jobs are outside the city. I said, okay, if I provide you with transportation, job training, daycare, and health care when you go to work. And they said, yes. And that was born welfare reform in Wisconsin, and therefore the nation, and therefore the world. Because once I started, and you can well imagine how difficult it must have been to get Democrats in the legislature to pass it. Here's how I did it. I took the majority leader who was going to run against me for governor, and I appointed him as my cabinet secretary for health. It shook up everybody. And he came in and he ran the program. Then I brought the welfare mothers up to lobby the Democrats, and they got up and said, give me a chance to go to work and get out of poverty. Don't lock me into poverty. And we got it passed. You know what happened? As soon as I got it passed and the welfare rolls started going down, And to give you an idea how successful I was, before I finished as governor, the welfare load went down by 93%. 93% of the people that were on welfare when I was governor